Well, I thought it was. Somebody told me it was.
Just seeing who wants to come on the road trip to the magnificent Ralston. The road north.
The road north?
Okay. Well, I'm just finding that people are really switching on to politics. People that had just stayed away for so long. I think the issues of climate change are really coming face to face with what's happening in the world, and it's books like Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything. It's had a really big impact on engaging people that it's up to the individual to do something now.
The age of coal, the age of gas is over. The real issue for New South Wales is not the long-term future, but what we do now to make sure that transition brings
Apparently Centroc has got some research from Charles Sturt University, which was presented last week, looking at the economic direction of the region, and the results that they were told was that mining is no longer a growth area, and that the growth is going to come in agriculture, education and health services. Interestingly, there was no mention of renewable energy, but as I pointed out to the Mayor of Blaney, who's scratching his head thinking what happens next, a wind farm right now would be a really good idea. Blaney's where the Flyers Creek wind farm with 44 turbines has been approved, and yet because of the opposition to renewable energy coming from the National Party particularly, the rollout of these projects has been stalled. In terms of renewable energy, where the jobs come from is also in the manufacture of the components that make things like the turbines, the big wind towers. So that what we've been saying is that in Lithgow, which has had a manufacturing background, it's a perfect opportunity for them to start manufacturing the towers and the blades for these turbines. There's around 80 wind towers approved for this region, and the support and the infrastructure has to come from somewhere. We had a great launch in Lithgow the other day, and on Thursday, and John Kay came up from Sydney, and a great conversation with the community there, and quite delighted to meet like-minded people because they feel very much under siege from the strong coal mining lobby that's been blaming the Greens for the closure of coal mines and the loss of jobs. And we've been trying to explain that in fact it's the halving of the coal price hasn't actually had anything to do with us. We're not quite that powerful yet, but the international coal market is actually moving because of climate forces, and because the Chinese and the Indians and other of our markets have decided to move away from coal.
Yeah. The 101 Tonka trucks are lined up on the wall. Oh, it's very exciting.
Our top man, Lars Peterson, who is a bit of a miner because he's so young, we sent him along there to just have a bit of a tour of the coal mining facility, have a gander around the place. And right now, Lars has gone underground. Where are you, Lars?
Well, we've just arrived here down the bottom of our stop. We've got like a regular car park here with all these special mine vehicles.
The Minerals Council has just been on this incredible campaign to convince the major political parties and the general population that its fortunes are, the country's fortunes are completely tied solely to mining, and that is our only employer. That people have forgotten what the real numbers really are. In coal-fired power in this state, the total sum of jobs involved is 7,000. Now, what they're talking about in switching over to renewable energy, they're talking about 70,000 jobs. Look at those magnificent pagoda country.
Yep.
It's Texas with trees. Anyway, we BCAN joined the Lithgow Environment Group and the Blue Mountains Environment Groups to campaign to stop this open cut mine in the Gardens of Stone forests up here. So we went over to the hearing. The hearing was in Cullumbullen. It's a little village, and it was interesting that the community itself had put in submissions to oppose the mine because it would have placed them in the centre of a whole whirlwind of open cut mines and coal transportation, something similar to the Hunter. So a large submission and campaign was run by the local community. So the Planning Assessment Commission did decide that the environmental impacts of the mine were such that they shouldn't be allowed to extend the mine. So it was rejected. That was a victory. I do want to add that kind of thing does obviously impact real families and small communities quite substantially when it's been the biggest income to date. So what the Greens very thankfully have said that why they're saying we need a phased withdrawal is so that the people working in the mining industry have guaranteed jobs in the renewable sector. I went on to council under the inspiration of the two fantastic local politicians. One was Kath Knowles, who was the wonderful Labor mayor of Bathurst. She was only about 30 when she was mayor, and was enormously popular and respected, and had a fantastic touch for social justice and humanitarianism. And also Peter Andren, who was the sole person to stand up against the Iraq War and the treatment of refugees. And he each election got a bigger and bigger slice of the vote. And even conservative farmers, would say, look, I don't know if I'm right on board, but if you're saying it, I'll follow you. It is a little bit tough being in politics, even at the local government level. All the meetings are at night, so it's time you're not home cooking dinner, and there's a cost to family about being involved in this. But I'm very grateful for their support, and it's fun having them involved in the campaign when they're able to be, and I'm really appreciative. Farmers and Greens standing alongside each other. So the Lock the Gate movement of people trying to protect agricultural land, protect water, our substrata water and our water supply. That's creating new alliances in Australian politics, and unfortunately the National Party has just walked away from trying to contain that industry. It's easy to understand why. When look at the political donations, Santos is the biggest company up north, in areas like Gloucester. They've donated $200,000 to the major political parties just in the last year. We've still got a long way to go. What buckets of yours? Put a face to the name. Now it's really quiet because it's a really show. That was great. Wow, look at that. That's a lot of solar cells. What a great investment. I'd love to do that. And we have our fantastic yarn-bombed car, which has raised a few questions. Some people think it's a little bit playing into the weirdo hippie kind of typecasting, but it is a thing of enormous beauty, and as many people react to it with wow, that is just fantastic, to what the hell is that? Bike club in town for the show. We wanted to get noticed. And I'm the candidate here, so.
Tracy.
I'm Tracy Cassidy.
Hi, how do you do? Good to meet you.
What's your name?
Jenny.
Green supporter from way back.
Oh, yay!
Good on
See,
you.
isn't this car the best?
It is. Have you been down to the...
We're just on our way. I think that angle's the best angle. It's not just...
Quite often we don't sort of get to see the greens person.
Shirley, I do the
That's the infamous Mount Penny. Remember? Obi, that's Eddie's fault. That's Eddie's car. That was